Hello, my friends. Namaste. I'm Jill Loftis, and I am joining you today from Odyssey The Platform to give you an overview of your February 2024 astrology. So this is kind of a turning point month, and I hope at some point, maybe after listening to this forecast, you'll go back and take a look. Ann Bayford and I did an overview of the first quarter of the year. That video is posted on YouTube on the Odyssey The Platform channel. And it was kind of a combination of looking at the astrology and then also Anne consulting her guides. And so those pieces of information coming together are really useful. But there are definitely some key dates that I want you to be aware of for the month of February and some key energies that are unfolding. So I'm going to cover those to begin with. And then later in the video, I'm going to go sign by sign based on your rising sign, the ways to high vibe this energy and the kind of maybe lower vibrational things to avoid or be cautious about. All right. So if you do not have your chart, astro.com is one of the many places you can obtain a free astrological chart. You'll need to put in your birth date, the most accurate time you can locate, and of course the location, city, state, or country, in order to know what that rising sign is, and that's the sign on the first house cusp. This will give you a more accurate indication of where these events will be occurring. And particularly for the month of February, it's really important because things are very focused in certain areas of our lives. All right. So there's a couple points I want to make. One, all the planets are direct. And so when the planets are all direct, usually, there's some nice mix of planets kind of retrograding, moving back and forth. It's like they passing the energies around and maybe repeating some things. Right now, all the planets are direct. We are covering some very new territory. And so there will be events that are setting new patterns for this month. So it's important to be observant about that. Another thing to notice is that the planet Pluto has gone into the sign of Aquarius. It is the planet of death and dying and regeneration. It is the energy of the phoenix, right? Burns it down so that it can start again. And it is newly in Aquarius. Now, it dipped in last year, but it went back in this past month. And the reason we want to pay attention is because one by one, some of the more personal planets will be coming into contact with Pluto at the very beginning of Aquarius. And so we'll have a contact of Pluto with Mercury. So the mind meeting the new energy of Pluto and Aquarius. Then we'll have Mars, or the inner warrior, the planet of action and drive, coming in contact with Pluto, which I definitely will pay attention to some of those dates because it's a time to be very cautious and careful, personally, individually, as far as accidents and things like that, but in the collective at large as well. And then Venus will contact Pluto as well. And so we're going to want to pay attention to what symbolically occurs, not only in our own personal lives, but in the world at large when these meetings occur. Now, we'll have a cluster of planets in the sign of Capricorn, very much activating that area of your life. But then at the end of the month, the cluster will switch, and instead the focus will turn to Pisces energy. And that is the end of the zodiac. It is the finest filter that prepares the energies to enter Aries. Okay. And so where that occurs in your chart will be dependent on your rising sign. And again, I'll give you a little forecast for each of those, but pay attention to what's going to happen. When you have planets that are grouped together, it's just like a lot more energy, in the same way that if you gather with a group of people, your collective energy is expressed in a different way than each of you individually. And so we want to pay attention to what happens there, because it can sometimes be a lot, and that's neither good nor bad. It's just a lot. Okay. And then I'm also going to give you a couple more key dates. I want to look at the new moon for the month and the full moon for the month. So maybe have your calendar, maybe a little something that you can jot some notes, and I'm going to be referring to my notes as we go through the month. So throughout the month, also notice that we're having lovely contacts between the planet Jupiter of expansion, optimism, and Saturn, the planet of limitation and restriction. They're actually really in a beautiful synergy all month. And so know that even if there are difficult times, there are methods and ways to solve the problem. All right. So it's not all difficult aspects. There are definitely some abundant and beneficial blessings. Now, at the beginning of the month, on the 5th, we have that Mercury, the symbol of our mind, coming in contact with Pluto. This is a day to kind of observe, and sometimes it can be a little before and a little after, right? It's not that precise 24 hours that I'm looking at, but just kind of understanding how that is going to change things as far as Mercury ruled things like communication, the mind, technological things may be involved here. It could have something to do with transport. Just take note of that. All right. The other interesting thing coming up in the beginning of the month that actually will kind of play out all throughout the month is that the nodes of the moon, which are on a 19-year cycle. So you may wish to look back, especially 2005 range. We're having some of those same patterns occurring right now. But Chiron is involved, which means there's abundant opportunity for healing. Relationships in particular are being strongly tested at this time. And so you may wish to engage in healing yourself so that you can be a better partner, right? Or it might become abundantly clear that certain relationships are no longer working and they either need to be repaired, broken down, and renewed, or you need to move on. And so think about some of those themes as you go through the month. A little caution flag up for February the 8th. We have the sun in a clash pattern with the planet Uranus. This can definitely cause unexpected things to happen, disruptions. So make sure you have a plan A, B, and C before, during, and after the 8th of the month. Our new moon is on the 9th of the month. And if you know your chart, it's at 20 degrees, 41 minutes of Aquarius. It's a brand new beginning. And our first new moon in Aquarius with Pluto co-present. Now, they're not close to each other, but they're both in the same sign. And so wherever that area of life is, you can really see and feel this sense of how that area of life is going to change dramatically over the next 20 years. And there will be a rebirth of some kind. Now, it is not the most beautifully aspected new moon. It's not a terrible new moon either. But keep in mind, if you do ritualize your new moons, it's at 5:59 p.m. Eastern time, but immediately after that moon becomes new, the moon voids, and it does not move into the next sign or make the next contact and come out of void until 8:42 a.m. Eastern the next day. So adjust that for your time zone so that if you want to ritualize this new moon, you would do it after that time the next day. All right. If you're doing a formal ritual. Otherwise, it's a beautiful time to meditate. It's a beautiful time for creativity. Moon voids are going to be something I'm going to be talking a lot about over the next couple months because there are some very long ones. And I just want you to know at the most basic level, a moon void means that things won't stick. It's like a universal loophole. And so you don't want to initiate something, sign a contract, make a big decision during those times, but they are marvelous times for attuning to your spirit guides, to meditate, to pray, to engage in artistic expression, maybe some creative writing, or they're beautifully inspirational times, but don't expect to be able to accomplish a lot of linear thinking or gain traction on specific goals during those times. All right. All right. The next day that I want you to really watch is kind of the range from the 11th to the 18th. And this is when we're going to have the warrior planet Mars come into contact with Pluto. Venus will also come along, but especially when we're looking at the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, Mars in Aquarius touching Pluto. This is a volatile energy, and this volatility can express itself through accidents. It could be, you're chopping your vegetables and you're not paying attention, or you're in a hurry and, you cut yourself. It could bring accidents in a general sense. It could cause problems if you're driving. There could be more car crashes, etc. In the world at large, you are going to see some really symbolic events that relate to how the warrior is going to interact with the Lord of the underworld in Aquarian energy. You may, in fact, see technology being used in not positive ways. Again, caution flag up. Just use your wisdom. Be connected to your guides so that you know where to go, what to do, and don't overschedule these days. All right. It's not the most romantic Valentine vibe, I must have to say. If you do want to celebrate Valentine's Day, it's just it's a difficult clash kind of energy. And so if you're looking for a little more romance or things like that, move it to later in the month. Now, on the 16th, Venus is going to move in and make that first contact with Pluto. And this is the goddess going into the underworld. Again, not the most comfortable or safe energy. So just have your protocols in place of personal safety and awareness, particularly if you're female or identify as female. This is also a time to really manage and observe your resources, your money, what's important to you. There will be this sense of transformation. You may even, decide that all of a sudden, wow, something else is more important than another thing. Something that really matters to you no longer does. You have a different perspective. So keep that in mind. The 19th, we have the exact merging of Chiron, the part of us that feels defected or broken in some way, with the North Node in Aries. We have to heal the wound of independence. We have to understand that, yes, we have to be strong and empowered, but we also need to find healthy partnerships. So this could definitely be a theme throughout the month, but you will definitely get a signal or impulse on this day related to that. Now, another big long moon void, February 22nd. The moon void's at 11:18 p.m. Eastern time, all right, until 8:38 p.m. Eastern on the 24th. I'm sorry, until the 23rd. All right, so pretty much all day on the 23rd, the moon is void. Not a time to schedule, let's say, signing a contract for a new job or, going and launching your website. All right. Our full moon is on the 24th. It's at 7:30 a.m. Eastern. At 5 degrees, 23 minutes, the sign of Virgo, very close to standing across the sky from the planet of Saturn. This gives a little bit of a harsh edge to this moon. And the moon in Virgo is already a little harsh because Virgo energy is about perfection and idealism. And so this may illuminate something that feels very broken or difficult for you. This is another kind of hold on loosely kind of moon. And in fact, I keep getting the imagery when I think about, because full moons are often for letting go or cord cutting. Every time I think of this moon, I think of cutting like a big, thick steel wire and having it snap back and hurt something, unexpectedly. And so I would be very cautious if you are doing any kind of ritual related to this full moon. And instead, just put that desire out there more emotionally. And because Saturn is in that emotional Pisces sign, the sun is in that emotional Pisces sign, and Mercury is in that emotional Pisces sign for this full moon. Almost let the water dissolve it, right? The water can wear away stone, right? All right. Then we have this, total pileup of the Mercury, Sun, and Saturn, emphasizing some very specific degrees. And so if you have any sensitive points in Pisces or in aspect to the 8, 9, 10 degree range in any sign, you're going to want to pay attention to what is happening here. There could be some very karmic experiences occurring. Another big long moon void on the 27th, 1:22 p.m. Eastern, all the way through the 28th, 10:09 p.m. Eastern. So all afternoon, the 27th, all day, the 28th, another moon void. And keep in mind, this February is a little extra because it's a leap year. We do have a leap day on the 29th, and there are actually some beneficial aspects as we come into that final day of February. And so those aspects will help us to maybe resolve some of the issues that became clear to us during the month. All right, well, let's take a look now. I'm going to pull up for you the charts, and we're going to talk about each of the individual rising signs and where the focus is going to be. Now, this is the beginning of the month, and as you can see, this is for Aries rising folks. The pileup of planets is in the 10th, 11th, and 12th. So Aries rising people, there's going to be a big focus on groups of people, on friendships, some new values coming up for you, some new dreams and desires. Career has gone through this transformation, is going through this transformation, and that will continue. It's time to really initiate some new group associations and to let go of some old dreams and develop some new ones. Now, one of the key things that you need to do, Aries rising, is to really resolve some of your deep-seated inner negative patterns. We all have self-defeating habits and patterns, but right now yours are being highlighted and the consequences are much more severe. You also will need to make sure that you are paying attention to your body and how your body is feeling. Don't push yourself. You're an Aries rising, right? I mean, Aries energy is like, let's push through. Don't. Be a little bit more careful, cautious with your physical body. All right. That's one of the best ways to handle this energy. Taurus rising. Well, there's a big activation for you as far as soul purpose and career with Pluto newly in that 10th house. We really are entering for you a new era. And it is a little bit of a public, kind of a public vibe. You're kind of like a put my nose down, work hard, right? Now it's like, wow, whatever I've been working for, whatever I've been striving for, I now have to bring it out into the future, into the cosmos. You need to really watch out for power struggles with authority figures. All right. People in charge. If you're a person in charge, you need to watch out for the lower, maybe egoic types of energies that might spring up. You also have to really dedicate your time and energy, Taurus rising, to the dreams and aspirations that you wish to bring into the world. And watch the deepest innermost self and the subconscious patterns that might really cause problems in your daily life. You're going to need to work hard to heal those, and they will become abundantly clear this month. Gemini rising, the activity is moving out of your 8th house of shared resources with your partner and into the 9th house of teaching and publishing, of philosophy and long distance travel. You're having to work pretty hard at work, right? A lot of responsibilities are coming your way, but you also have some visionary energy that is joining you. And so you may need to look for a new course that you want to take, something you want to study. Maybe you want to add to your, your gifts and talents by learning some more. Maybe you want to teach something. Those opportunities might be coming your way. You have to heal your relationships with some of your peers and friends. There may be some relationships that you're realizing no longer work for you and that you need to let go of. And, you have to really kind of get yourself organized deep on the inside. All right. There's some opportunities here for healing lineage karma through dedication, through hard work. And, also abundant opportunities if you are looking for a career or job that is associated with a large company or a hospital or something like that. Some opportunities may pop up for you in that realm this month. Cancer rising. So the relationship sector has been so powerfully changed over these last several years. And now the focus becomes more spiritual. Definitely, the more you can spend time meditating, tuning into your guides, looking at your dream life, activating that part of your life in powerful ways. Even sexual healing could be really powerful for you now. You may wish to also consider dedicating yourself to learning something new, adding to your skill set, getting serious about a course you want to teach or a book that you want to write. There could be some defeats, some uncomfortable things that happen at work. And just make sure that when you look at those situations as they come up, that it's more like, wow, this person doesn't appreciate me. I need to start appreciating myself more. Or maybe it even shows to you that you might need a new position, new job, new company, or a new way of bringing your energy out into the world. It has probably been a little hard for you to know exactly where to move forward, but that energy is pushing for next year, and it's time to get the education, the certifications, those things that you need in order to move forward next year. All right. Leo rising. Wow. Well, it's not been easy. These last few years have not been easy, but now we have Pluto across the sky from you saying, who am I anyways? This is a reinvention phase, and your personal partnerships are part of that. This is a time for you to really understand whether the relationships that you're in are working for you, and are they relationships that you want to carry forward. Activities that you can devote to that will help hone your intuition and your connections to your angels and guides will be highly rewarded. It is something you should definitely expend time and energy on. There could be some difficulties at home or difficulties kind of deep within yourself as Pluto begins to challenge your own deepest, innermost ways of being in a different way than it did over the last 15 years. This is also a time for you to think about where you can put in some extra effort career-wise in order to take advantage of opportunities. Jupiter is moving through your 10th house of career and soul purpose, and it's bringing opportunities up. And it's you only have until May to really take advantage of that energy. So it's a high focus area with Uranus there as well. So make sure, don't leap before you look, but if something comes along, investigate it and perhaps move forward. Virgo rising. Wow. Well, your creative process has undergone some deep transformation, and now it is time for you to let your daily life reflect that. So it could be that you need to really get your daily schedule and routine on point. You might need to make some health make those doctor's appointments that maybe you've been putting off. I want you to take care of your health during this time because you are literally undergoing a transformation in the way that you live your daily life. There could be some challenges that arise with partnerships. And those are not just your lover or your spouse, but also business partners or people who you work with or collaborate with. Make sure that you're seeing them clearly and seeing yourself clearly. There also could be some deep spiritual healing available to you. If you have some kind of issues, any kind of issues, honestly, take it to your meditation cushion and offer it up. You have this potent healing energy happening in your life right now, and you do need to make sure that your self-worth, your value, the way you spend your time, energy, and money, how that reflects the life that you really want to lead, or else there could be stressful repercussions. You also want to dedicate yourself to some kind of learning. And so if you're taking a class or course, go ahead and spend the time and energy to really lock in that knowledge. Libra rising, your deepest inner self has gone through this difficult transformation over these past few years, and now you are birthing new creative projects, new ideas. Things could be going on for your children as well. You'll want to pay a lot of attention to children during this time, making sure that they're okay and safe. And it could feel also that you really need to get your daily routines on point. Maybe start setting the alarm and being a little bit more dedicated to having a schedule and a routine. I think that will be very, very beneficial for you. The healing for you this month is all in the relationship sector. And so there could be some old ghosts that surface, and you have to really pay attention to any of those lower vibrational Libra tendencies of being self-sacrificial, of saying, yeah, sure, I'll do that, when inside you're thinking, I don't want to do that. Be honest. Don't hurt people, of course, but you have to be honest. You have to be honest with the people that you love, and you have to be honest with yourself. And so your own vision of how you see yourself in the world is being tested. You have some wonderful assistance coming to you from beyond, from the universal realms. And so magical synchronicities can happen for you. Absolutely believe in magic this month. Scorpio rising, this catharsis is occurring for you at the deepest realm of inner self. Your mind has gone through all this transformation, and now it's time to make your inner self be as transformed as the mind. So you may find yourself letting go of things that you thought helped make you feel stable or secure. You may find yourself moving or having the desire to move. You may also really be shifting and changing what it is that you enjoy spending your time and energy on. It's time for you to get kind of serious about fun, schedule pleasant events, and especially things that relate to partners and partnerships. If you are not in a pair bonded situation you would like to be, get out there and see what's going on out there, because opportunity could come up. You could meet someone so suddenly. It could be just magical synchronicities abounding for you in the partnership sector. You might also want to collaborate with somebody on a work project, and you might feel like your daily life feels a little out of control. There could be some health matters. And so if you have anything that comes up, especially something stress related, I want you to deal with it right away. And you might want to make sure you incorporate some vigorous exercise into this month to move any of the heavy energy that might be coming, that you might be sensing or feeling. I mean, you sense and feel everything, right? So watch that. All right, beautiful. Sagittarius rising. It really is for you about mind and expression. You are going to have so many ideas coming towards you, maybe wonderful inventions, downloads, things related to technology, wonderful conversations with new groups and new people, which you just love. It is a time you might also be considering a move. You might be looking at where you live, whether it's the home, the town, the state, the city, the country, and being like, this shoe doesn't fit anymore. But just make sure. I know sometimes you can make those decisions pretty quickly. I would not. I would gather information and trust yourself. There could be some difficulties that arise with children or creative projects, or something that you wanted to take a risk on. Maybe even something that a friend kind of talked you into, or a group of people, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, what happened? What just happened here? So I would slow down a little bit. Definitely, there's also a tendency right now for you to take on too much, to be like, yeah, sure, add that to the list. Sure, I'll take on that project. Sure, I'll take that side gig. Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Slow down a little bit. Accidents definitely are something that you need to watch out for, particularly this month in the neighborhood or locally. Capricorn rising. Wow. Well, you've been through Pluto transformation. You done did the Phoenix. But now that energy is moving into your second house of money and finances. You see yourself in a new light now, and you need to embrace that. And this will really give you an idea of whether you are really in this place of self-worth and self-value. What you want to devote your time and energy to might completely transform, even just in the first few weeks of this month. And so pay attention to that. There's a lot of energy focused on having hard conversations. All right. So make sure that you put as my teacher would say, a little honey on the tongue in case you need to eat those words back. Make sure that you are communicating clearly and wisely. I know that's something that you're actually really gifted at, but make sure that people are hearing what you're saying. I would really also take the time to heal any of the deep inner issues that you might have related to childhood issues or karma, particularly things related to the inner link parent, probably the mother, but could potentially be the father as well. And I want you to say yes to some of these creative opportunities. They may have been things that you passed by over the last year or so, and now it's saying, look, last chance, let's do it. Take advantage of those energies. Aquarius rising. Wow. Well, you've been reformed from the inside out, and now it's time to bring that reformation out into the public view, and you are going to change the way you see yourself. You're going to change the way you present to the world, and even your physical body itself may undergo a regenerative process. So make sure that you are not lost in the world of thought and mind, and you are instead staying anchored and grounded, especially at the deepest level of self. You are for sure having a lot of conversations around partnerships and relationships, and you're really figuring out where your words may have been painful, or even your mental patterns, and how you need to broaden those mental patterns in a more positive way. Finances are a high focus right now for you, and you're kind of finding out whether some of the decisions that you've made over the past few years were positive or negative, and it is time to get that on point. Remember that any kind of financial issues have a lot to do with your own self-worth, and so make sure your self-esteem is structured well, and that you, you deal with any issues where you feel a sense of lack, or your mental patterns are enforcing a lack mentality. And finally, last but certainly not least, beloved Pisces. Well, you've got Saturn in your sign, so there's a lot of work to do. And it can sometimes be hard to know where to direct that energy. With both Saturn and Neptune in that first house of you, taking care of your body can feel a little difficult, but dedicate the time and energy to doing it. You have a new viewpoint, a new vantage point on the deepest inner self and realm. So you renovate, heal, do the work. This is a wonderful time for you to, start working with a coach, or do some Jungian analysis or spiritual counseling or something like that. That's going to help you really understand the deep inner automatic programming and how that can be used to your advantage. Now, financially, you're gonna come into focus on whether you've gone in the right direction or not with your time and energy. Make sure you're not overdoing it. Make sure that you're not, trying to do it all yourself too. Make sure that if there are other resources available to you, that you take advantage of them in a positive way, not like using anybody or anything, but just, hey, that energy is there to support you, even in your love relationships. And this is also a time where there are going to be some completions and endings, and possibly endings in your partnerships. Make sure that you handle those things with grace and kindness, and understand what it is that you want and what you're trying to accomplish in order to maintain the pair bonds, the relationships, the partnerships that are good for you, that work for you in your life, and let go of the ones that don't. All right, beautiful friends. Well, I hope that was useful and helpful. Please drop me a comment below. This is my first recording of this nature, and I look forward to offering this every month for Odyssey the Platform viewers. But any insights or questions or comments, I would deeply appreciate. Thank you for your continued support, and I wish you a most marvelous month. Namaste.